Well, it is a beautiful Tuesday morning here at Vision Advisors in Hot Springs, Arkansas. This is John Terry. Thank you for jumping on the call and being with us today. I was just telling Kelly O'Brien, our guest for today, that it is an absolutely gorgeous and beautiful day. There is not a cloud in the sky, and it's one of those days that you wish you were on the golf course. I want to thank you for taking time to join us. I know a number of you are with us live. Some of you are going to be joining us and coming in a little late. And then there are going to be others that are going to be catching our replay we're going to be doing this afternoon. So thank you for those that are on the call live. Thank you for those that are going to be listening either to the replay this afternoon or catching our recording on Facebook. This is an interesting topic, and it's a topic that I have spent many, many hours researching over the last several months as we've seen this monstrosity called the Department of Labor Rule begin to take fruition. And we were on, then we were off, then we were on, then we were off, and then it's kind of like that proverbial diaper on the baby. At some point, it's got to get changed. And we've seen a number of changes going back and forth from the original rollout of the rule to the fact that we thought it wasn't going to be rolled out. Now part of it's rolled out. The question is, what happens in January? Are we going to see phase 2 implementation as originally mandated? Are we going to see the Department of Labor come in and make some changes? There's still a lot of uncertainty in the air as it relates to the Department of Labor rule. But today, we want to talk about some ways that you can make sure that regardless of what happens, that you have an opportunity to have a tool in place that can help you comply with the rule. You know, as we look at the 8424 exemption, having run a broker-dealer and run an RIA firm, very familiar with 8424 because I've lived in that world for years. But this impartial conduct standard that we are all being held to today is something that a lot of agents at this point still haven't quite grasped the fact that the cheese is moved, if I can use the phrase from that book a few years ago, Who Moved My Cheese? The cheese is moved. The way we do business today when it comes to qualified dollars is different than it was a month ago. And for those of you that have yet to embrace the fact that your cheese has moved and that you are going to be held to a higher standard of conduct in the way that you conduct your business and function as a financial professional, you need to understand that you are now held to a fiduciary standard. Now, what does that mean? Again, there's a variety of definitions and explanations, but really, if we sum it down to one thing, it's the fact that you do no harm to the client and that you put the client's interest above your own. That's really at the heart of the golden rule, you know, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Not before you, they do it unto you, but as you would do it unto them. So I've got on the call with me today Kelly O'Brien. Kelly is married to Kim O'Brien, and many of you guys recognize that name from the 151A fight that we had years ago. And Kim has been a tireless champion of the independent insurance agent and their opportunity and their right to be able to provide safe money solutions using annuities. Kim has developed an organization called the Americans for Annuity Protection. I'm a member of that. A number of you on the call may be members of that. If you're not, you should be. But one of the things that Kelly and Kim and their team have put together is a tool that we want to roll out and show you today called AssessBest. We are part of a coalition that offers this financial software program as a way and a means for you to comply with the rule. One of the architects behind that and one of the guys that can help you understand this product better is Mr. Kelly O'Brien, and Kelly is on the call with us today. So, Kelly, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us. I appreciate the work that you and Kim have been tirelessly doing for a number of years in fighting for the causes of the independent insurance producer. So why don't you talk about AssessBest and really how this tool can help us accomplish some amazing things as in addition to dealing with this new world of the DOL.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. And I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to be here with everybody today. Thank you very much. And thank you all for taking a little bit of time out of your day, too. I know you're busy out there. I know we're closing in on a holiday, and you've probably got a lot of things to do. I hope this is uppermost on your mind, and obviously it is. So thank you very much for joining us. You know, Kim has been, as you said, John, tirelessly supporting the independent distribution of life insurance annuity products, and this is her baby. You know, she wants you to have the opportunity to continue to operate, especially in the qualified money space. But let's face it, once that happens, we're going to slowly see the entire world change, because some carriers are already asking that we use the impartial conduct standard both for qualified money transactions and for non-qualified. So over time, we're going to see that happen. I want to dig a little bit deeper into, before we get started on the software package, I want to dig a little bit deeper into what John was talking about with respect to the impartial conduct standards and what it means to us. Right now, that is simply a rule imposed by the DOL that forces all of us to operate under this exemption, which is called the impartial conduct standards. That means a new normal. As John said, move the cheese. This is not business as usual anymore. So let's move on and let's talk about what AssessBest can do to help you transition to the new world. And it's not going to be difficult. Let's face it, you guys, the majority of you out there have been doing this all the way along. You have been putting your clients' needs above yours. And so let's not enter this world as if we have been doing things wrong. Let's enter it as if we've been doing things right all the way. And now we just need to have a system that verifies it, a system that quantifies it, so that if there's a problem in the future, we can go back to the system and say, yeah, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. Everything is in place. And the lawyer's going to go, yeah, you're right, you did. So that's what AssessBest is. We determine guaranteed insurance gaps. Now, what does that mean? Well, our software drives the client to a solution that includes insurance coverage. Annuities, life insurance, generally it's going to be annuities, but we drive to a guaranteed insurance gap. It could be an income gap. It could be a protection gap. It could be a long-term care gap. It could be any of a number of things. And I'll show you how we arrive at those as we dig a little bit deeper. But most important, this validates the insurance solutions. Didn't mean to go there yet. Now, what does that mean? One, you need a risk tolerance tool that's included in the software. This justifies a diversified plan using insurance products. We need to look at recommendations based on what the client's needs are. We need to have a tool that demonstrates reasonable compensation. The product selection process, we want you to utilize Vision Advisors as your tool, as your resource to help you make decisions about products. Now, we're not suggesting that you have to have all products out there. No, we just need to have a set of products that meet the specific needs of the client. Well, that might mean that in any given client, you give John a call and say, hey, this is what I've got. I've got an assessment here that I want to share with you. I want you to help me pick up products. That's all we're asking you to do. That's a simple process. And then we need to protect that recommendation with full disclosures and a client sign-off. What does that mean? There are 3 steps to our process: assessment, analysis, and advice. The assessment is really your marketing opportunity. You're building trust with your clients. You're showing that your business is a professional service that you're offering. And through doing that, you will generate appointments and you will generate referrals. People will comment on what you're doing. The analysis, this is the sales part. This is when you take the client's information, you identify the gig, the software guides the client to a solution, and through that, the client is satisfied. That is what you're looking for. so that the client understands exactly what the solution is. And of course, the advice part, this is compliance. Standardize your process. You do the same steps with every client. It's not going to be different than what you've done. You're just demonstrating it using this software product. The software will document your reports. It will require a client sign-off, a client signature. And ultimately, it's going to retain your records in a cyber-secure cloud space. So everything is uploaded into the cloud. We spend big bucks, AssessBest, big bucks to implement a cybersecurity system, and everything is stored up there. You don't need to put it on your, it's not going to be on your computer per se, even though you're going to be using your computer. It's going to be stored in a different facility. It's always going to be there for you. It's always going to be available to you, and you will always own the information. This is not a situation where you're being asked to come into a brand new place, a brand new IMO, where the IMO owns everything and you walk away with nothing. You own all of the information. It's stored in a cybersecurity facility that we have created on your behalf. And look, I don't know if you've looked into creating a cybersecure facility for yourself, but it's going to cost you 40, 50, maybe 60 bucks a month. Just that alone, the $199 cost of purchasing AssessBest through your IMO, through Vision Advisors, hey, you can't go wrong. It's a perfect opportunity. Impartial conduct. Oh, by the way, if there's any questions, just jump in, please. I don't want to be preaching up here. I want this to be meaningful to all of you, and if we can do that by answering questions as they come up, by all means, just please jump in. And John, if you're getting messages from people about questions, just jump in, please. I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely. Hey, for those on the call, if you'll use the question box on the right-hand side of your screen, if you have questions as you go along, please put those in, and as they are applicable and appropriate, I'll jump in and interrupt Kelly, or if not, we'll cover all those at the end of the call.
Awesome. Good deal. So impartial conduct, what it means, prudence. Prudence. This goes back centuries in the financial services. It's about putting your client's needs first. It's about what would you do as a client in this instance, and would you treat your client any differently than you would treat yourself? Is your mom buying a product? Does your mom need some guidance? And are you the one giving her some guidance? And how would you treat her? You would treat her as if she was the most important person on the planet at that time. Of course, she is, probably. But prudence is one of the guiding principles of the impartial conduct. And loyalty, client's interest first. Head of the advisor, head of the firm, charge no more than reasonable compensation, and make no misleading statements. Well, perfect. But what does reasonable compensation mean? And what is a misleading statement? Who's going to define that? My point is, these are very nebulous terms. And the more we can construct the actual conversation, record that conversation, store that, and get the sign off from the client, and then store it properly, the better off you're going to be that in the event that anything happens in the future that triggers some type of litigation. I'm going to jump through these. So, I'm sorry. I didn't really go that far. Okay. So, careful deliberation. Understand the client. That's critical. Use knowledge. Use your skills. And that includes giving a call to John Terry and his team. Hey, John, I've got this assessment. I want you to take a look at it. It's a little bit unusual because of this, that, and another thing. I need some help with some product some product solutions for this client. And the advice, that's loyalty. So get your gig. Guaranteed insurance gaps. AssessBest uncovers those gigs. Let's go take a look at it. All right. I'm going to put this down right now, and we're going to go to our website. And here's where you can go to log in to the AssessBest website, to the software. So the process goes like this. John has a PayPal button that is coded directly to him. So when you purchase the AssessBest platform, you'll purchase it using his PayPal button. And when that notification comes to me, I know that you came in through through John's website. So I send the information to him, and we begin setting up your account. John's team actually sets up your account for you in the software system. Again, we do that because we want to enhance the relationship you have with your IMO. John's a good guy. He's been around for a long time. He's got great credentials, great background, and he understands these products, understands the need for these solutions, and understands how the solutions can be put in place. So we want you to go through him. That's why we're engaging with his internal admin team, his licensing people, his contracting people, and his marketing people to provide you a great DOL solution. So let's go in. AssessBest login.
Hey, Kelly, doing that real quick, I got a question that popped up. Wanted to know where they actually find that link. Let me just jump in real quick. For those of you on the call that are interested in the tool, I'll cover it again at the end of the webinar, but you can actually go to our website, visionadvisorsinc.com, click on the resources button, and in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see an AssessBest logo. Click on that logo. It'll take you to the landing page. At the bottom of that page is where you actually sign up.
Perfect. That's exactly right. And it's a smooth process, everybody. And all the way along, you'll be receiving notifications about what the status of that process is. When John's team finishes setting up your account, you're going to get an email that's saying, here's your username, here's your password, here's a link into the software. Go in. You'll have to complete your profile. That includes everything, your basic contact information, along with your licensing information, will all be there for you. John's team has already set that up for you. The carriers that you're appointed with, that's all set up for you. All you need to do is complete your background information, complete your AML training information, complete your education background information. There are a couple other things, none of which are required, but you'll be told all the way along what you'll need to do. When you hit submit at the bottom, if you haven't completed something, it'll tell you what you need to complete. So don't be frightened off by that. I know how I am with the digital world. Sometimes it just flips me out, but we're going to help you through it all the way along. And once you do, you'll have access to the system. Now, when you log in for the first time, you'll log in to my profile section. That's the only place that you can go. All of the rest of this will not be available to you until you complete the profile. So as I was saying, here's the demographic information. This is all made up in here. That's Kim's name. That's not made up. Birthday is not made up either, by the way, but doesn't matter. And you'll be asked to identify how your agency is structured. Most of you are probably sole proprietors, but they could be corporations or LLCs if there is. You can always upload your articles of incorporation or whatever you want to do there, okay? That's a great tool. There it is. You always know where it is. All right, licensing information already completed. If you have a 65, a 63, you'll need to identify who your supervising firm is, and this is how you open these things. If you just click on the name, the field, click on the field, and it'll allow you to write something in underneath it. Same thing up here, okay? Education details. Really, the only thing you really need to do here, I've got a whole bunch of stuff in here, but it doesn't matter, really. If you enter one item, maybe it's your college degree, maybe it's your high school degree, it doesn't matter. That's all you really need here. Just enter the name of the school, enter the year that you graduated, and it's all good there, okay? AML training, this is a goofy one because when you look at it for the first time, it's going to be, it's not intuitive that you need to do something here, and we're going to try to change that. But you need to open this one up the same way you did up here. Open it up and put complete or yes or AML training complete or whatever, and then enter your vendor over here and what the most recent date is that you achieved that certificate. Okay, you don't have to upload the certificate. In fact, if you've done it from LINRA, then you probably don't even have one. But nonetheless, that'll be required. AML training will be required. Fiduciary training is not. If you have not taken a fiduciary training class, you don't need to enter it here. That's not a requirement. If you haven't taken one, you might want to consider taking one. And I know that there are a lot of places out there that have them. LINRA has a fiduciary training. I don't think there's any cost to it. And we actually have a fiduciary training platform as well. Your clients are going to they're going to know that this DOL rule has occurred. They're going to know that fiduciary is very important. And they're going to know that because they deal with other financial experts. And they're going to be telling them, I'm a fiduciary. I am a fiduciary. I am a fiduciary. Is that insurance agent a fiduciary? They're going to be hitting you hard, so be prepared for that. Here's where you can upload another document. Okay, this is the financial institution. John mentioned earlier that we don't know whether or not the BIC is actually going to survive. Hopefully it doesn't, and I think that might be our best case scenario, that it doesn't, that we kick it out. Impartial conduct is here to stay, though. But if we need a designated financial institution, we'll have John's team enter that for you, so you'll always have a place to go. Don't worry about that. It's going to be a blank right now, but eventually we'll be able to fill that in. Here's the name of your charter marketing organization. In this case, it's John's team, okay? Selected carriers. There will be a long list of carriers. Right now, they're not alphabetical. You can scroll down through to find the carriers. There's something on here that you don't have in your list. Call John's team and see what you can do to get contracted, okay? Then finally, other awards, acknowledgments, member affiliations, not required. Background information is. You've done this before many times. So don't shy away from this one. If there is a yes answer, then provide a solution or provide an answer. There it is. Simple, simple. Okay, let's go back. There we go. All right. Disclaimer, yes. Accept, yes. Submit. I'm not going to submit because I've already submitted on this one. But what happens, as soon as you submit, you will now get access to everything. And what does it mean? Reports, coming soon. Not there. Managed clients, we're going to implement a CRM soon. It's a CRM that you can upload your client data into. And obviously, when you're finished, when you retire or whatever, you can also download them back to your own personal privacy and continue to manage those clients even in retirement. Closed assessments are assessments you've opened and have done either it's closed because client doesn't have the right, there are no solutions you can provide, or the client purchased an annuity and you're closing it. You can open it up again next year at the annual review. Open assessments. There will be none here when you enter for the first time, but you'll have an opportunity to enter assessments. Before we do that, I want to show you what a client report looks like. And for that purpose, I'm going to go down to this fictional guy right here. I set this guy up, and I've completed this based on just a bunch of fictional information. We're asking for goals and objectives. We're asking for income and expenses. And once we get that to that point, that's going to reveal some guaranteed insurance gaps. We'll have a risk tolerance tool, and then we'll have some suggestions as to other insurance gaps that might be out there, okay? And these are all gaps. These are all gaps that can be filled by annuities and or life insurance, okay? So that's what we're doing. Now, if you've seen any of the other tools out there, I call them all needs analysis tools because that's what we do. We determine the needs of the client. But all of the other needs analysis tools are different than AssessBest for one very important reason. We drive to an insurance conclusion. The rest all drive to an asset allocation model. In other words, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, here's where your assets are right now. Here's what your risk tolerance is. They don't match, so let's move some of your assets around, okay? No, we drive specifically to a guaranteed insurance gap. Let me go back. Sorry about this. Let's go to here. There it is. Guaranteed insurance gap. What are your future expenses? What is your guaranteed income, that's Social Security and pension, etc.? And what's the gap? If there's a gap, let's fill it. An annuity is a great place to fill it. Here's the gap, $1,000 a month. Protection gap. This is the rule of 100, and John can tell you all about this. Okay, so if a client has $1 million in assets and the client is 60 years old, that most financial advisors will say, well, we should look at protecting 60% of your assets. Very simple math there, right? Okay, so how much of your assets are protected right now? Well, it looks like you've got 800,000 exposed to the marketplace. That means you've got 200,000 protected. That means you've got a $400,000 gap. How do we protect that? It's very simple math, okay? Now I want to show you what a report is going to look like, because this is where it starts to get really fun for you, because you actually have some very professional tools at your fingertips. When I mentioned earlier that you're going to call John with an assessment report and say, hey, John, what do you recommend here? Well, here's what it's going to look like. This is the man, Dave Welford, his wife, Susan. Dave is 59 years old. She's 55 years old. Dave wants to retire at 65, wants to begin taking Social Security at 66. I don't know why that is, because you would think that maybe he's got some money stockpiled so that he can cover that first year of income, whatever. And Susan wants to work a little bit longer, so she's got some other parameters that she's dealing with. But this is what we've determined in the assessment process. They're looking for income for life, okay? And they want some additional income besides their Social Security, besides their pension, and they want that to be guaranteed income. Well, that speaks directly to an annuity, as you all know. The risk assessment score is based on 100 points. They scored a 34, which means they're very conservative, in fact, defensive. That's what we determined. And by the way, it's a 10 questionnaire. Here it is. I'll show you what it looks like. We have a little, this little tab opens up a bunch of calculators that you can use. And okay, there it is. What is my risk tolerance? Okay. So here are the questions. Very simple. Very easy to, I'm not going to go through them all. You've seen these before. And then you calculate the number, and it scores a 34 out of whatever. Close that back down. So these clients are defensive. What are the calculations that we've come up with? Well, one is our income gap. Here it is. One is our protection gap. Here it is. So now we can make recommendations, and that's where we'd actually pull some product information in. But before we do that, I want to show you what the report actually looks like. It can be a PDF that you can print and you can have the client sign, or it is an email that you can send to the client, have them print it, sign it, scan it, send it back to you. I don't know which one works best for you. We're not quite there with respect to, electronic signatures, but we'll get there. So let's go take a look at the report. This is a PDF report. Here's what it looks like. And it's going to look really professional, okay? That we've designed this so that, you know, when it comes to that professionalism, that part of what you're doing to make sure the client's needs are taken care of, this is a very good report. It looks good. It's got a lot of information in it. So here's the client information, the agent information. This is what we're talking about here, okay? Again, assessment report, net worth, financial goals, concerns. This is all pulled in from the assessment you just did. It's easy to follow. Here are the gaps. There could be others. You'll want to notate those. And ultimately, this is where the client signs. So that's the assessment report. Now, let's go and add some recommendations now. So you talk to John. John says, yeah, the Sagicor fixed index annuity best and the Equitrust Wow 10. These are two products that I think really work for this client. So you go ahead and enter the information. What type of product is it? What is the surrender period? Are there any surrender waivers, free withdrawal, terminal death benefit, nursing home rider? You can check them all or you can uncheck them all. Or you can check them all, uncheck, or you can then check one at a time. If you do change something, always go down here and make that change permanent. Just kicked me out. Sorry about that. Let's go back. And it's easy enough to wander your way through. So ultimately, instead of going back into that recommendation part, well, actually, I want to go back into there again. So let's go in. We're adding recommendations. One of the things about the impartial conduct standard is that you need to disclose the compensation. That's the real big thing that has changed in our new world, in our new universe, after the cheese was moved, okay? So you'll need to enter this information about compensation. I'm just making this up, so I chose a 6% 10-year product. It's a fixed index annuity. The other one is a 6.5% 10-year product. So let's have the conversation that you will have when you're talking to your client. Mr. and Mrs. Client, I earn 6% on this product. That means that if it's a $100,000 premium, I'm going to earn $6,000. And they're going to go, what? $6,000? That's a lot of money. Well, let me compare it to where your money currently is. Your money is currently in a 401k, and you're paying, it's right here, see this, 1.5% per year for the cost of that, for cost of them managing the money. So in 10 years, that means you will pay somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15, maybe even more, $1,000. So you'll be paying $10,000 to $15,000 if you hold that money in that account for the next 10 years. Now, let's take a look at that compared to my $6,000. First of all, my $6,000 covers my brick and mortar, my heating, my electricity, all of my computers, all of my electronic information, all of my staff, and blah, blah, blah. This is the conversation. This is an important conversation. And by the way, this is a 10-year product. Why do I recommend a 10-year product? Because it's the right product. We've proven that based on the information we've gathered, and you already signed off on the information, right? That's an important conversation to have. Now, if this product is a 10-year product and it's the right product for you, let's compare it to the mutual fund fees that you're paying. Well, you're going to pay $10,000 to $15,000, somewhere in that range over the course of the next 10 years. I'm charging you 0.6 per year for 10 years. It's not bad, is it? That shows an apples to apples, doesn't it? And that's important. Now, even more importantly, let's say it's an income product that's designed to turn into income in 7 or 10 years. Now, let's compare those mutual fund fees over your life expectancy. You're 60 years old. You could live to 85, hopefully longer. But over a 25-year period, my compensation is 0.21 per year for a product not only that you need to help fill a gap, but is the right product for you. It's an insurance product. It's based on mortality. And if you outlive the mortality tables, this is a much better deal. If you live to 85, you're going to pay 0.21% over the course of that 25-year period. Not a bad way to go, okay? So that's the conversation. Now, I'm going to go one step further because we have created, and this, when I say we, I mean Kim. Kim has created all of these. Back in February of 2016, she woke up in the middle of the night with a great big aha moment. She said, the DOL is going to come through. We're going to be living under a different world. And so we better create something that can help those independent IMOs, those independent insurance agents continue to have access to these products in the qualified space. So, see this little note that just came in? That's telling me that somebody just completed their assessment profile or their AssessBest profile, and now I send an email. I'll send an email out to that person immediately. Okay. So here's Kim created, and Kim. So she set out at that point to build AssessBest. It's her baby. It's her brainchild. Everything in here goes directly to the independent distribution channel. So one of the things that she did, and you notice I've dropped down, I went out here and I uploaded a bunch of reports, which you can do too. You can put anything you want in here that's relevant to that client. It might be an invitation that you sent them to a seminar. It might be a marketing piece that you created for them or whatever. It might be a copy of an email that you sent to them. You can just upload that stuff right into here and hold it there in the cyber secure file forever. DOL requires 6 years, but you can hold it there forever. So here's a document that I put in here. I've already talked to John about this, and we're going to get his feedback on this after I finish talking. But this disclosure form Kim created, I think John will be able to add some insight here because he's seen all of these documents that carriers are producing right now. You probably have too, everybody, but the disclosure documents that the carriers are creating are really designed for the carrier's best interest because they want to give you as much information as they can on this disclosure. They're going to ask you to sign the disclosure along with the client, and it's going to be pretty milquetoast, but it's going to protect the insurance carrier. It'll probably protect you to some degree as well, but not to the extent that you would like. So here's the 8424 exempt PTE, prohibited transaction exemption that the Department of Labor defines for us. Now, pretty much same old stuff until you get to commission. It's not a bad idea to even just read this to the client because you're saying when you purchase a contract, an annuity contract, I receive a commission. The commission covers advisors' cost of doing business, providing services to you. It's one of the many costs the insurance company considers and factors into product design. It includes guaranteed and non-guaranteed benefits and features that may be offered. Now, here's where it gets really good. It does not impact the money, the premium you pay to purchase the insurance contract. 100% of your premium is applied to the insurance contract. The insurance company pays me, Mr. and Mrs. Client, and the commission is based on the premium payment you make to the insurance contract. And it may vary based on the type of product you purchase. It goes on. So what I'm saying is that here's the language. If you need to show reasonable compensation, here's how you show it. This is very reasonable. There's a lot of work that goes in both to market this product on the responsibility of the insurance company, my responsibility, my professional relationships, etc. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and so I don't think anybody has a problem with me getting paid. This is how I get paid. Very simple. Now, in the assessment tool or the recommendation tool, remember we talked about that 6% product? Let's say that you like trail commissions. Let's say that you sell a flexible premium product and that 6% no longer really is the compensation because you're going to receive additional compensation in the future. So how do you disclose that? Well, here's how you disclose it. You disclose it by entering information here, 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 and here. And once you do that here, then client initials. You've now detailed and recorded the conversation. So when you get back to your office, scan this document in. They're going to sign it as well, okay? Scan it in, upload it into your file. Very simple, very, very simple process. And it's cyber secure. What more can you ask for? So now, you've had your conversation with John Terry and his team. You've made some product recommendations. By the way, you can add more products if you want to. Very simple. I'm going to close those out. Close that out. And now, oh, by the way, we can also upload illustrations. Simple, simple, simple. Okay? Now, let's go take a look at the report. Let's say, for instance, that you are taking a trail compensation and you don't want to show the 6% heat. You don't have to. There's unchecked compensation and it won't show up on the report. Let's say you don't want to show them illustrations. Maybe you don't like illustrations because they show some 10-year best, 10-year worst, and average ratings, annuity or index rate. My brain is dead. Sorry about that. You know what I'm talking about, I hope. You don't want to show them the illustrations. All right, you don't have to. I'm going to keep them in here for now. All right, now, let's go take a look at the report. I love this report because it details everything. It shows the client exactly what has happened. First 3 pages, by the way, this is the assessment and recommendation report. So the assessment is included. All the information about the assessment. Here it is. Here are the gigs. Now, excuse me, what does a recommendation report mean? It's a lot of information in here. Let's not read it. I don't want to take the time. Here are the products. Here are the fees. Here's the compensation. Remember, this one I didn't have to include here, but I did. These are the objectives. One of the things that we identified in the assessment tool was that we need to generate guaranteed income. We need to generate additional income, pay income for life. There are many others. It includes long-term care. It includes supplementing Social Security income. It includes a whole bunch of other things. And we can go look at that if you need to. John, I don't think we need to go look at that. You can be the judge of that. We'll talk later in a minute. Risk tolerance, your time horizon. When are you going to retire? 6 years, 7, 10, 15 years? We're going to identify that in the tool. We're going to find out what your actual time horizon is. This is an important part of the DOL and partial conduct standards. You need to understand when the client's going to retire, what their needs are, what their goals are, what their objectives are. You need to record all of that in a document that is signed by them and stored in a cyber secure facility. So that's good. Let's move on. Here's the premium. Here's the funding source. Obviously, the net worth, liquidity. Does it meet suitability guidelines? We're going to change this language a little bit shortly, but for now, it'll suffice. But we're going to change it a little bit. I'll let you know when we do after we finish this training and you guys come on board. And then there is a space in the assessment report where you can do a lot of you can add a lot of additional information. Perhaps it was a conversation you had about legacy planning, and the client said, "Oh, we have a trust, Mr. Agent, and that trust is fully funded right now, so I think we're taking care of it on that." And by the way, I have a life insurance plan so that the grandkids' college education is going to be taken care of. So boom, 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 boom. You can have those conversations and record it in here. Then signature, date, place, you're good to go. This is automatically stored in the cloud, and now you have a complete process, a complete solution, and a complete place to go to take care of the 8424 impartial conduct rule the DOL has imposed into your life. And with that, John, take it away.
Hey, thanks. Guys, a couple things I want to point out just real quick as we get ready to wrap up. So hang with me if you will. Maybe give me 2 to 3 minutes and we'll be done with the call today. What you've seen on this tool today is a very unique third-party resource that is not only designed to help you comply with the impartial conduct standard, but the way this particular analysis tool has been put together and the reports have been done, this actually becomes a sales tool that helps you validate and reinforce the need for safe money solutions. You see, as the results are generated out, and you saw them in the report, the need for an annuity to create guaranteed income, the need for life insurance to create that protection gap, the opportunity through additional assessments that we didn't do on this particular example to show long-term care concerns that the client may have and how we meet those as well. So isn't it neat that you've got the ability to access a tool that not only helps you be compliant, but also gives you the additional validation that you need to help that client make an informed decision? Remember, we've talked in the past that clients initially make decisions to buy based upon their emotions. And then immediately you have to come behind that to be able to give them facts and figures to validate their decision. This very unique tool and that report allows you to let them see the pain of that income gap. Let them see the pain and experience the pain of that protection gap so that they realize that the solution that you're offering is actually in their best interest. And then immediately the numbers come behind it to show them how that you've helped them solve that problem. This is a very unique tool that can be very, very helpful. Now, there is a little bit of input involved, and I have, heard guys say, well, I've never had to do this before. I came from the BD world, and when I first got in it after starting in the world of Prudential, I thought this was a great waste of time. But what I found was that extra 5 or 10 minutes to input some of this data to create that report actually helped me close more business. And as a result of that, I had more clients. My stickiness with my clients in terms of longevity worked. I still have to this day referrals that come in from individuals I did this type of planning with over 20 years ago that I still get calls where they'll come in and they'll pull out their analysis that I did for them 20 years ago and say, this is what John did for me 20 years ago. And because of that, we're going to be able to retire in 5 years. If you want to have somebody do for you what he did for us, here's his phone number. I still get calls from people doing that. That is the power of doing education-based, impartial conduct selling that is designed to do one thing, help them see the need and understand how we fill the need. That's what this tool is. We're very excited to have this resource available. If it's something you're interested in acquiring, the cost, because we are a charter member of this coalition, is $199 a year. If you were to go direct to the AssessBest and try to buy it and not buy it through one of the charter members that are part of this coalition, you'd pay $349 a year for the same piece of software. So it is a very unique solution, and I love what Kelly said. This is your software solution. You can store in this cloud anything as it pertains to your clients that is necessary and that you want to put in there. Emails, letters, communiques, mail pieces, whatever you've done, it gives you a place to digitally store all of the things that you need to store to validate what you've done. Remember, under the impartial conduct standard, under the DOL rule, you've got to have a process that you can duplicate. You've got to have a process that you can evidence. You've got to have a process that you can validate the results that you've determined are in the best interest of the client, and you got to store it for 6 years. Here's a solution that does it all, and for less than $20 a month. It's a great solution. I'm happy to take other calls that you guys may have, as well as Melissa, Kyle, or Randy here in the office. Kelly, thank you for being on the call with us. Let me remind you, if you're interested in the tool, one more time, go to our website, visionadvisorsinc.com. Click on the Resources tab, and you'll see the AssessBest logo. Click on the AssessBest logo, scroll to the bottom of the page, click on the PayPal link, and enter your information. We'll get a notification that you've acquired the software. We'll get it set up, get all of our data inputted into that, and get that to you as quickly as we can. Thank you for being on the call with us. Have an amazing day. We look forward to working with you guys soon on the call.